get started here, so motion to open the Board of Water. 330-367. Yeah. Press.
Yeah, see, this is what I was doing.
Oh, good. Can I just call you back in about 10 minutes?
Oh, look, here's this.
All right, I make a motion to open the Board of Water Commission meeting of December 14th, 2023 at 8:04 a.m.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, so we're trying to do this hybrid meeting.
Mhm.
We got this new TV and camera, so we need to troubleshoot that a bit. So that'll come later, but at least they have audio if anyone's gonna join. Jonathan, I don't know if anyone's joining.
Doesn't look like it.
Okay, so we know that Mike Dick, the capital budget liaison, had requested a hybrid option, so. And then, you know, maybe this will prompt Brian or Michelle or Chris to ever join the meetings, so we have this option now. And we'll see if anyone needs to. So we'll probably have a bit of an abbreviated agenda today. We do not have the Woodring current funding team that possibly will be a January meeting. So the intent there was to have a high-level introductory discussion with whomever you guys have on your team that can give us some guidance on funding sources or avenues to gain funding for capital projects and things like that. So we'll see if we can schedule that for January. Financials, we don't have any from town. And I think the latest expenditure budget from Brenda is a few weeks old, so.
Okay, well, the other problem that I was talking about, before you joined the conversation here with us, we talked to Fred, is should we possibly look to get a state audit, because we have not had any serious financials in 6 months. More than 6 months. And we're at a critical stage.
So I just want to run through the agenda first, and then we'll get into
Okay.
these topics. So, and then we'll talk briefly on the MWRA Combined Community Study. I'll give both an update on what's going on there. Jonathan's going to present a issue with a potential service on King Street, and then we can have a discussion on upcoming capital projects, and then commission comments. So that's the agenda. Anything else we need to add to the agenda? I think I'm good.
Well, I do have some other items I want to talk about. That's just
Okay, we'll cover that at the end during commission comments. That work.
perfect.
Okay. Fred, Jonathan, anything to?
Just a quick comment on the funding team. I think the sooner that you can set a meeting date or provide some options, the easier it will be for me to lock those guys in.
Okay.
If you can try to do it a little earlier, or set it out.
Yeah.
Make sure we get it here.
Like a late January meeting.
Yeah.
Just the sooner you can set it,
Oh, yeah.
and let me know, I can start poking. at
Well,
the
Chris,
price.
Try to do it right now if you can.
I can tell you right now, I'm so happy the New Year's here.
Yeah.
Make sure you don't do it the day of
Hey, the what?
the blizzard.
Oh,
No, I think too, we'll just during the winter months, if people are traveling, we should offer just a hybrid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I think it's a good idea.
I'm pretty much wide open except the 25th, January.
Okay, let's see.
And you guys would be okay if they hybrid in.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's the winter time, we never know what month.
So Tuesday the 16th. Thursday the 18th.
I'm good either.
Yeah. it looks
So you
that
want
way.
to just make it a placeholder, I'll reach out to them after this meeting.
Yeah,
Tuesday the 16th. Is that what we do?
Yeah. I don't see
so we'll just do
anything here.
Tuesday
What
the
do you
16th with a backup date on the
I should
Tuesday,
have it.
Thursday the 18th.
Yeah, great.
see? Uh-oh.
Anything else on that, bro?
That's it.
Thank you. Jonathan, anything to update us on?
Like the update from earlier this
Yeah,
week.
just general updates, anything we haven't
Sure.
covered.
Well, it'd be a repeat for you, but, yeah, a few things going on. I'm working on meeting with contractors for the garage. I've met with 2 masons. And I've met with 1 out of 3 roofers who I've been in touch with. The guy who I met, I like him a lot. He's very straightforward, casual.
Who is he?
Reliable Roofing, I believe. I feel like all of the roofers I've talked to have been connections to the town, one way or another.
Now, have you contacted Portanova?
Is that
Alex
the,
Detus?
the gentleman that your husband suggested? Yeah, he did stop by and he took a look at it and he was gonna send me some literature, so I should follow up on that.
You know, because we had our roofs done recently, and we both had Reliable and Portanova. Give us quotes, and Portanova ended up being the lower quote, and they did a really excellent job.
Okay,
Because, you know, if you go by my house and see what my roof looks like, they even put all the copper on top, and
Just gotta make sure the roofing company, like I know Reliable, they'll do the prevailing wage, a lot of roofers won't. So, that's something to get it and be mine.
oh yeah, no, Alex is, you know, the Detus is.
Yeah, no, I know, but you just gotta make sure they
Yeah.
will work and,
Does it have to be preliminary?
Yeah.
I thought we don't do prevailing wage.
I don't think it does.
Brenda?
It's not federal funding, it doesn't need to be.
That's correct.
At any rate, the Reliable Roofing guy who I met, as I said, I liked him. He was seemed honest and straightforward and casual. And he said that he was recommending replacing the whole thing, the roof. And he said that would get you 20, 30 years, but he also said you could do a repair that would get you 10 years. And
So you asked for both.
yeah, I asked for both prices.
How does he determine what needs to be repaired?
I'm not so sure about that.
No, based on their experience.
And one of the other roofers was quite a salesman. He pitched me a $3,000 infrared scan before any work would be done, just to identify whether or not it needed to be replaced or repaired. He also proposed an $8,000 gutter before even being here or looking at it. And he made it seem that if the roof gets replaced, all these new codes would be kicked in, and he made it seem like Armageddon. And I mentioned that to the guy I met in person. I was like, what about some new codes? And he said, yeah, that's true, but it's not a big deal. So anyhow, and then the third guy has been tough to reach, tough to get here.
You have a recommendation for firms.
Yes, I'll follow up on that.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, no, I mean, and if you know the size of my house and my barn, imagine the entire thing is done in 1 week.
Wow.
I don't know if you know. Yeah, and it was just shocking.
Well, so that's that little progress on the garage. Fred and I have also been looking into mechanical dewatering, either a one-time event or an annual event for the sludge lagoon.
Until we can build the
Yes, and I've met with,
Okay, now,
Well, before, I just want to add something real quick. So you guys used to mechanical dewater before the bags. We went to the bags, my understanding historically, to save some money. Cost. But we're up against it on the website. It's full. These guys got bags all over the place. And the more I thought about it, it's more like a one time or once a year until we fix the issue. To drop that lagoon in its entirety. Plus, there's a lot of thicker stuff in the bottom. And that would provide them with 236,000 gallons of more storage to get through the winter, to be able to provide or do backwashes appropriately and not have to put it into the back.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We're up against it. The raw water quality for some reason is not good. This time of the year, he's seeing numbers, that's similar to August. So that's creating some more challenges in treatability. But that's kind of the thought behind it. There's gonna be a cost to it, but it's like, we feel like we're up against it with no other option. So it's probably the best interest of the utilities all to just get it done. Provide some relief.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're gonna try to control costs the best we can. We'll provide you with detailed quotes. And Jonathan's been working on it, talking to guys. Synagro showed up and another,
Yeah, I don't know the name of the company, but it's what he does. He's very reputable. He listed off a couple communities in New England where he's been doing it for 10 years. He also does it nationwide. He goes to Texas, Nevada,
we
And-
went to,
Hanover.
a couple of years ago and met with him, saw the whole process. So he pulls up a trailer. He's able to treat or dose chemical, centrifuge it,
Spin it, yep.
and then, dewater and get the sludge into a container, highly dewatered material.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's more desirable.
Get it
Drop
out of here.
somewhere, yeah. Just we need to do something.
Now, where are we transporting to? We're still going to Connecticut.
Well, yeah, if we go with Cinnabar, we are. The other, you might go to Cinnabar, I would think, right? Interrupt me if I'm wrong. If
No,
I'm
that's true. He recommended a land or a compost landfill, I'm not sure which, in Ipswich. Who I placed a phone call to, and they're gonna give me pricing. So there is technically, if you go that route, it's two different prices combined, because you have the service of the dewatering plus the service of disposal, whereas with Synagro, it's all under one house.
Right.
The centrifuge guy, he would do it in a week, and the Synagro guy uses a different process, it would take 2 weeks. And the other thing I would add is that, apart from the weekly, monthly, being up against it, the struggle, it also would alleviate, like, the main bottleneck is when we're removing the bags. When we remove the bags, we go offline, and while we're offline, the wet lagoon fills up with new sludge.
And like the water quality being where it is right now, we can't continue to operate that. We need some room.
Yeah.
Because it's coming into the plant bed, we need to backwash.
You just fill up the lagoon.
Yeah, it's, you're gonna start sending the stuff into the pond.
Right.
There's no way around it. Let it
That's it, just has to go someplace.
continue. Right.
So
Just like it did 20 years ago.
Has Synagro come out?
Yes,
Okay, so both companies are working on a proposal,
yes,
right? Okay, and that is expected before the end of the year?
yes.
Okay, yeah, so we should push for that, so we can evaluate in June.
It would take place in March. That's when they're available.
Well,
Yeah,
that's the first guy. We're not sure Senegal might go into the sooner.
he more or less said the same thing.
So that's better than nothing, right? If we can
Definitely.
get it.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, just so we're aware, this is likely to cost 6 figures. All in.
I'm still working on that because that doesn't make a lot of sense to me based on, what was the community we went to see?
Hanover.
Hanover does it twice a year, quite a larger volume. It costs them just over 100 grand, but they do it twice a year. So the prices aren't making a lot of sense. So I would probably challenge that this week that a bit. Without making them go away on me.
Yeah.
Say, can you justify that based on these volumes?
Yeah,
Right.
It should really be happening.
yeah, we move it over.
So that's where I'm trying to get to.
I don't think we should not do it if it is more expensive than we hope. You know what I mean?
I'm glad to hear you say that.
Yeah.
Because we're up against it.
Mhm.
So I appreciate that.
I mean, we tried to do this a few months ago, get it pumped out, but that wasn't successful. So this is the next step.
What was the thing, you remember Jason had that dewatering?
Ironically, big coincidence, that guy reached out to me this week. So what Steve's talking about is, while Jason was here, he had some vendors come in and make a presentation on us purchasing the equipment of the centrifuge,
Mhm.
which would have involved, construction of a new building to house it. And I think the price tag 3 years ago was something around $1 million.
Mhm.
So out of the blue, the guy emailed me yesterday. He's like, I hear you're the new contact. Like, where do we stand with this project? And I said, well,
Have them refresh the pricing,
okay.
you know, just to see where it's at. I mean, if you're willing to do
Probably
that.
up to $1.5 million by now.
Yeah.
You know, at that point, I mean, we're gonna spend $1 million. Let's get the lagoon going. New
Well,
lagoon.
but if you do a lagoon design. Yeah, I mean, if you get mechanical dewatering in here and not do the lagoons, I guess. If it's cheaper.
Well, mechanical dewatering was one of the options that
Right.
we did study. All
Yeah.
that, and that was.
And it might
not
be
$1 million.
an option
Far more
just
than
based on your footprint.
What do you think of the cost of the lagoon? How much?
Well, weren't they saying
that. $6 million.
6 million for like 3 new lagoons?
$6 million. So that's
Why
why,
you need it though?
Oh, yeah, and it's gonna be, I mean, it's years out.
So-
We barely get an RFP together. It's taking.
We can't get this one to go. But so when they build the first one, right? That'll be the third. Then they would just go back and go to one,
Rehab those.
two,
yeah.
rehab those.
But I don't know, like it's all new.
Yeah, no, I think it is all new.
They're all.
Yeah, and then you're building the first one, you start discharging, that should have plenty of volume to get you through a operating season. You can shut it off, isolate it, let it drain, and let the stuff cake, and then you come back and you break it off.
So
And it's super dry.
so the dumb question, are all the lagoons connected with a pipe or are they just,
Yes, they all drain in the same discharge.
gotcha?
It's not a dumb question.
No, I.
There are dumb questions, but that's
Yeah,
not one.
I was curious.
Right, well,
I think I'd say go after it, let us know and
Thank you, I appreciate it. I'm
Yeah.
against it, so.
but the third lagoon, that has been a topic for since your father was here.
Mhm.
And I remember Carl was working on it and, well, first off, we had the problem with Concom and getting the
Sorry.
town to say, oh, okay, you can do it. Then the latest thing was the state, and that is what Carl was supposedly been working on because of the permit. How long does it take?
Yeah,
Because if we had,
it's gonna be a long time.
I thought we had been starting on it already. But then COVID happened and Jason came in and everything kind of,
Well,
hazy.
according to Brian, said getting the permits, yeah, the Concom with their support won't be that, it won't be that, it will be pretty easy.
It'll be within that whole.
well, that's
And-
Concom, but we're talking the state. That's where Carl was working on.
Yeah, I don't know what he did, but I can tell you that we would certainly help expedite.
Here's your question, what would be a state permit for? I don't know the answer, I was curious.
I don't know what the requirement is.
I'm sure there's a
I don't know.
regulation that needs to be.
Discharge permit, they're gonna have to review everything. When you make changes to your treatment process, they have to bless it. Anticipate them.
There's probably 2 employees there too.
Yeah, we would get them that design, sooner than later, right? And then we stay on them and turn it around. I don't really see this one. It's not something that's happening internal to this plant, which they're really looking like, which additional chemical treatment and all that.
Right,
That becomes a bit more of a lift.
because there's gonna be a cost savings for doing the lagoon anyway for chemicals. Reduction, so, right?
There'd be a lot of savings in a lot of areas.
And labor and all that stuff, I'm guessing,
And you
time.
got, labor and time, just kind of abstract, but then you got the bags, removal.
Bags are gone. That's all these are in place.
So there is,
Treatability, and improved water quality, I would assume, leaving based on our ability to backwash and get rid of water.
so, I'm not gonna ask you that do a rate of return study, but it would be a rate of return for us. That would be,
That's why it just
advantageous.
doesn't make any sense. Why it has taken us forever to get to this point. We're talking.
Oh, we
Can't
can,
speak to that.
well, we can make we can make a change now.
Yeah.
Go on.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we've, been forward for years.
So that's that. I'm also inching closer to some proposals for a lot of rehab work in the chlorine gas room. That work started with first, our existing vendor who maintains it is phasing out into semi-retirement. And there were a number of, there were some components where he would come on site once a year and do annual maintenance to them.
Yep.
So then the work with him being kind of out of the game, that shifted towards us shipping those units to him one at a time, which rather than it all being done in one day, it would, each one had like a probably almost 2-month turnaround. So it took us, a good chunk of the year to do annual maintenance, and now nothing is on the same schedule. So also with him being retired and not being able to come out in an emergency, I was trying to find a new vendor for chlorine gas. There are not many of them, and they all seem to be similarly aging out. So I was put in touch with some of the folks in New York, upstate New York, And after like almost a year of poking at them, they were finally able to come and see what we have. And they were proposing components that are easier to maintain, things that the operators and I could easily take apart, much fewer parts, just a couple springs, you know, a gasket here and there. So that's what, how it started. And then while he was here, I pointed to another aspect of the room and I said, this needs to be rehabbed as well. And I can get into that if you like, but, that turned it into a bit of a bigger project. And before he got here, I didn't realize they would be a one-stop shop and that they would be able to do this other aspect as well. So all together, I'm there designing a couple things for us. I'm waiting for pricing. They're saying that there'll be a significant discount because they want us as customers.
Mhm.
But where the two projects are getting combined, originally, I think it would have been probably less than 10 grand. And now I can't guess what it's going to be. It's probably going to be maybe 2 or 3 times that. But anyhow, with it done, it'll make the system safer for us to operate and maintain.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
something-
Oh, and also, the other issue with that, he flagged was that the original components that we can't service, that we're being shipped out, that system, they're not completely emptying the chlorine gas cylinders. And so that means that when we send back a quote unquote empty cylinder to the chlorine gas supplier, it's not technically empty. There's still an amount in there that we don't really know what it is. So we're kind of leaving money on the table there too.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I think that's something you would bring to us and right now I just go for it.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
it
we
seems
got-
like money is coming up all the time. We know we have $1.5 million in retained earnings possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a philosophy for the last several years of just being fiscally responsible and trying not to go out and borrow, because I saw here we have $12 million left on that 30 million we've had from a gazillion years ago. So we were doing everything you could to tweak income by, doing the antennas, doing the extra charge on the people who didn't have the meters, things like that. So that we maintained our retained earnings and we were using it. So I suggest that we do whatever we have to do and get a list ready for a warrant article
Mhm.
to transfer to retained earnings into our budget
Right.
for the spring.
Yeah, and I think for next year's budget, we need to incorporate some of these things that need to be done because we had a $900,000 surplus last year, and that's just too much. We have needs and we need to spend money to keep this place run right. So,
When do you need that by?
I think the budget's gonna start in January, right?
Okay,
Budget
good.
process, yeah, so we'll
Yeah,
start the
but-
budgeting process in January. So,
It'd be good to get all your prices in.
Yeah, well, that was another thing. When I came on board, we had something like $50,000 in regular maintenance and $25,000 in extraordinary maintenance. And between Brenda and I, we upped it to the amounts it is now. We can always increase
yeah.
if we
yeah,
have to.
I think that's what we should do.
But I mean, we've been pretty successful in the last several years with the amount that we have to 50.
Guys, can I just point something out too?
Or,
Back in May of 2021, the town meeting, monies were appropriated in the amount of 335,000 for the chlorine conversion. And we kind of held off on doing that because we were going to do the GAC and we thought that it was all going to be done together. So, I mean, I'm not sure where the money is right now. I'm sure, I mean, it was voted in, but again, I don't know where the monies are coming from, but the money is there to do a chlorine conversion. I just
Well-
want to point that out.
Yes, that was to convert to liquid chlorine, which is technically different. I don't know how that would affect us legally, if we're allowed to spend the money in a slightly different way.
I think if it's.
Well,
if-
I
in my-
mean, it would have to, if it doesn't meet the guidelines that we're trying to do, then again, at town meeting, the money could be reappropriated
it's a lot.
and be more specific as to what we're gonna do with it now.
So that's almost everything on my list. There's one other thing that is kind of fallen off my radar a little bit, and I'm a little unsure what to do with it. And that's replacing the aeration system. I have quotes for that. Our existing air compressor is a little old and it's requiring a lot of service. I've received a proposal for a maintenance plan, which would reduce those service costs a little bit potentially. But I have proposals to replace it, and I was getting those leading up to the Woodard Current study. And I think as a group, we kind of decided to pause it while we waited for the results of the study.
Right.
And also pending possible study that could affect it as well, so I'm not quite sure.
And that's a very good point. I was gonna, once they figure out what's going on in the pond, they may make a different recommendation on how to air it. They create like fence barriers, various types of approaches, to add air, or different locations. So if we can limp along with this for now,
Yes,
I would suggest we do that and have the limit technology study done, which was a recommendation of the engineers.
Yeah,
It's kind of your baseline for
I
capability.
think that's gonna be, Chris,
And they updated that
That's-
quote.
you should probably. Yeah,
Yeah,
did I see that?
yeah, everybody should have got it.
I think,
Yeah, $70,000.
79,000?
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, they held the price from 2 years ago or so, because I'd had Jason get a price from them.
yeah,
And I just bumped into those guys. I was at a tree. I was gonna say, hey, can you resubmit? You know, we're talking about it again, it came up. A study.
I think it's probably worth doing.
And if, you know what, Chris, if you guys want to get pricing on something like that, but this guy, everybody, if you go to each engineering firm, they're all gonna point back to this gentleman by the name of Robert Cortman.
Yeah.
He's basically the guru, guy's a genius, this is what he does.
And there's a potential cost.
And all
for us.
these consultants will go to him and hire him under their team. So that's basically what I proposed.
So I think this could be a potential cost savings going down the road if this study comes out. The treatability, like, help me out here with the wording, with the treatability and stuff,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna learn some things that we don't know about the pond and how to go about treating it, whether it be aeration, other types of chemical applications. It's hard to say, influences,
does it include, would it include Aaron?
Yeah.
of
It says here samplings.
Aaron River as well. Yeah,
And
I would-
Heron Brook.
and we shouldn't exclude
Right,
that for
that'll
sure.
See, well,
If you'd like to, just so you know what you're paying for, we can have them do a more formal presentation.
We should do that.
see, I hate to keep going back to decades ago, but, there was severe talk about sewering this area. And, when the sewer tried to do another, survey a number of years ago, we discussed areas that they should survey, but they did not survey our areas. Instead, they just surveyed the houses right around Aaron River. Yeah,
I wish we could pump our sludge into this.
You know, I was thinking the same
There's
thing.
no way it can handle it. I
Yeah.
told Rob Scott, we're gonna send some stuff your way. He's like, hell, yeah, you will.
yeah.
So why wasn't this done in 2021? Why didn't we vote for this?
I
I don't know
price
about-
maybe, I don't know at the time. It didn't really. A roadmap really wasn't being created in such a
I
way to
think the
help you understand.
GAC
Yeah.
took pretty much, it took so much of all the meetings that we just put aside.
Yeah,
how long will it take?
So what you could do, Chris,
I gotta read it,
no,
it's several months.
so his suggestion, if you want to have the gentleman come in, right? But, no. You can have one of us, Chris, whoever, and just meet with the person. Then in our next if you could meet with the guy between now and our next board meeting, at least you can come back and present to the board and say, hey, this is what we're gonna do. I think it's a great idea.
It's not a bad idea either, Steve, because we're gonna have our funding team here at the next meeting, and then we have somebody do a formal presentation.
I think it'd be a good
Technology,
idea.
be a lot coming at you. We could do it separate, or
I think I'm fine seeing it separate. And Chris, you good with that?
So Bob Portman?
Yeah.
All right, I'll contact him for that.
And just get together and just come back, so, like you said, right, with that funding.
is he the one on the, also, from,
Well, that's not who the proposal came from. It came from Stephen Roy.
GZA?
GZA.
If you don't mind,
It says,
Chris,
please contact Bob Cortman at the above email or myself with questions. So,
if you don't mind, I'll poke at him too, because I've been talking to Bob on the side. If you want to do a more formal introduction of yourself, that's fine. It's up to you.
all right, so the email that you sent on November 13th, forwarded an email from years ago. But
Then they renewed it. and
did
sent
they?
it-
Who did that come from? You
sent
said
it-
that?
No, I haven't been very involved.
I forwarded,
You forwarded the old one, but is there a new one that we're looking at? Because this one is dated too.
yeah, because they said that they were gonna honor the price. I'll look at that. I thought I sent you the latest prayers.
Yeah, I think that's the best plan of attack.
Well, we'll figure out a timeline and see if that's the price and talk to them a bit about that. But obviously, there's money to come from somewhere, so.
It is.
And that might be over a couple of seasons. Said, we're gonna be looking at profiles.
That might just be broken up.
They say technically you should do it every 20 years. I think it's. Facilities plan, but it's been 20 years, it's time. We know it's a challenge, but nobody's ever really, based on what I read, I still don't understand what goes on in season. Like they see numbers that just don't make a lot of sense. Why they still spike there. This guy will be able to kind of provide
Right.
reasons why. Then help us treat accordingly.
A PFAS goes down during the winter, right? It's the winter time it goes down, then it's like back up. Yeah, then it goes back down.
Well, let's see, I thought the PFAS was peaked like in December, January over in the well field, and then it went down,
Right.
and then it came back up. That's the peak time that's for the well field though.
Right.
But here, I don't know. But the other thing too is about the GAC and the THM, what are we doing about that? We still have that issue that we have to get into the state guidelines, why we're doing that whole $5.8 million GAC system.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Where what she's saying is we're up against our THMs.
But that I understand.
Yes.
What are we
so-
doing about it?
Well,
Nothing
uh,
yet.
yeah, nothing yet, I would say, right?
We have to
No.
deal with being able to treat the source. So it's kind of like,
So that comes back to the study.
yeah,
To go back to here,
You go back
so
to
that we
there.
probably
I-
would not need the GAC system.
I should warn you though, that we could hit violation in 2024 for THM. It seems to be trending that way.
So that's where I think that study is gonna come very important.
and that, even if you were to receive a time order, so it's going to prompt you, you have to do something. And then.
Right.
It'll definitely, if you want to borrow money, it will definitely rank very high. You won't have an issue getting money for this. And there may be some subsidy, I can't say for sure, some debt forgiveness there, based on, it's directly related to water quality.
Right.
And so it'll rank very high within those funding.
Right.
So what brings you to that conclusion?
So the last 2 quarters for THMs, we triggered this, it's like a precursor to a violation. It's called an operational evaluation. And what it basically tells you is that if your numbers don't go down, you are going to violate. And it's happened twice in a row, 2 quarters in a row. I think 2 quarters ago, it was one site, and then this past quarter, it was 2 different sites.
Do you think if you had more ability to backwash and when needed, it would help you reduce your outgoing THM?
Yes, but more specific to dumping the basins where all the sludge settles out.
So
And that gets bottlenecked by the lagoon being full.
hence, that's why we're pushing for
Yeah.
mechanical dewatering on those.
That seems like a priority right now.
Yeah.
Yes, so then hopefully, because I remember we've been through this off and on in the last several years.
So prior to these, the past 2 quarters, we hit this pre-violation cursor in my first year or 2 here. And then
5 years ago.
3 to 5 years ago. So, and then we skated by for a few years and now it's back.
That's when we used to get those charts, remember, from somebody
Yep.
else, and they just stopped.
We really don't. know
No, those,
why.
those are in the MOR at the end.
You take a look at the last pages.
Oh, I must, sorry, guys.
No worries. We really don't know why, what's going on. He's seeing why all this numbers. So we shut the aerators off the other day too.
For the season, which we, I don't know,
We don't know if it's stirring things up. We
We-
also don't want to make the ice unsafe because people are allowed out.
yeah, my approach was like, oh, this might be helping us. If I think the pond's gonna start to freeze, I'll shut it off, but then we kind of rethought that.
Yeah, and said, turn it off. Let's see if it helps.
Now, did it have anything to do with benthic barriers being removed or anything?
It
Did that
was,
coincide?
it was already,
They were gone?
no, the numbers should have gone down back in
Yeah.
like November.
Okay. And they
And
did-
so we just had the berries taken out like last
oh, okay.
Can you give us a brief update on the tank foundation issue?
week. I don't have an update since I last discussed it with you.
So,
But that did cross my mind recently, though.
yeah, so we're essentially still waiting for all that conduit to be moved, so
Oh, okay, small update there. So, Brian Joyce was able to sort of more or less put me in touch with a contractor who could do that. That's the only update I have.
Qualcomm or something like that. That's the communications contractor for the town.
Yes,
Yeah. Okay, so they need to come in, move that conduit, so the foundation repair company can come in and do the more extensive repair.
yeah,
Correct?
Well,
Is that,
for that section, yes.
is that possible before winter, or is that, they're gonna have to put that up until warmer weather?
That I don't know. Well, the foundation repair definitely is warmer weather. The conduit relocation,
Yeah, that should
Yeah.
happen.
maybe not.
No,
Probably not.
That should happen, we should.
If you need any help, I know the owner, I use
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I will ask Brian about that again.
Javi, yeah.
Okay, anything else, John?
No,
Anything else for Jonathan? Questions?
Just one other question. So if we look at the lagoons, we actually have to get somebody to come down here and do a whole redo of that design for us.
So we're trying to do, we're trying to get an RFP together just for the design. And it's been painstaking. Brian sent me something the other day that I haven't looked at yet, but
Wasn't there
There
already?
should be one.
I think there is
This
a
is just-
design.
There has to be a design because they've always talked about a third one and building it.
I think that design was to build a third one that is the same size as our existing ones, which I don't believe is adequate anymore.
Yeah, correct. I think if we can find out who might have done the past design, at least that's a place to start.
That was Weston and Sampson.
That's it.
They still around?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They're,
We're just afraid what we said, we say, we thought there was a design already in place of the third lagoon. It was done probably when I just got here.
I think you're right. There's something wrong there.
So I'll dig into that.
it's so we want to find that design, is that what we're?
Well, we're not gonna use that design. but
Right.
If they are an engineering firm that can help us with the new design,
I would say so, yeah.
then we should engage them.
Help reduce costs.
Would you,
This one's already planned out.
would you like me to do that? Because I know I can,
Find the design first.
Well, maybe right there. A lot of stuff that's labeled.
yeah, I think there's a blueprint for it in the other room, but either way, I have a contact there, it's 2 birds, 1 stone.
Yeah, let's get your dialogue going with them, so. can get the ball rolling and. I
The
don't
other
know
thing
if
is
an RFP is required for this, but
If it's for one lagoon, but you wanna start looking, if you're gonna do all three, that might not suffice. But if there was a design for like an
Well,
extra lagoon,
Well,
but we really wanna rehab all of them.
yeah,
Right,
it's gonna be
so-
a design, it's gonna be a
Right.
new design.
yeah, he's saying get the old design plus get them to think about a new design, right?
Well,
Right.
I don't think there's any reason to,
Well,
look at the old design, it's more just validating that they were the ones that designed it.
Yes.
Engage them, tell them what our intent is, share the learning curve and study with them, and then go from there. And then hopefully they can give us a proposal, which is likely gonna be $400,000 or $500,000.
That's amazing.
Well, I think
I
one
don't
thing
see it.
about the old design though, to look at is to figure out why in the world it was never done. What were the hangups about expanding? No, I'm saying that might be included someplace in the literature. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I mean, in the Woodard study, that was in 2007 plant improvement plan was referenced many times. What?
Yeah,
Go ahead, Brenda.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh,
I
sorry.
was just comment.
Oh,
Sorry.
whatever that plan was.
well, I mean, this is what I remember too, with the area.
That's the challenge. It's like, what kind of problem, what's available? It's all rock.
That was the problem, I think it was the blasting.
It's gonna have to be done. Then.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
All right, so you're gonna reach out to Weston. Sampson. There's some tank foundation as needed.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else from Woodard, any questions?
Well, no, I just want to bring up Elms Meadow just briefly, because I remember I said you about the trees. Having done some work in the town this week with the house tour, I got a lot of comments about the well field and the trees. And I was working with a bunch of, let's say, elderly gentlemen with chainsaws. So, is there any problem with anyone about having people go in with chainsaws, get rid of some of those down trees?
I mean, maybe not with us, but have citizens go on town land.
Well, if we say it's okay, because it's,
Well, I mean, there's definitely some big liability there. But someone's hurt, who's gonna cut the cord off? Then what? And I don't like the idea.
Very good point. I would talk to Brian Joyce about it. I used to have him sign off for any type of work or deer hunting. You think of sign a release.
well, I mean, if they were doing a spring cleanup, did we have everybody sign off on a spring cleanup?
Take trees down. it's gonna do
We're
that.
not saying taking trees down, we're saying cutting up the down trees.
We talked to Brian about it. I don't love the idea, but I'd rather hire a landscape.
Well, we approached CPC with it twice about going in and cleaning up the area, and we were denied. Because we were also going to do the ice skating area on the back, and you notice that has not been cut yet.
It's just like people just
DPW
want
did.
firewood.
Hmm?
People just want firewood. What do they?
Well, no, but just discussed it with what it looks like. Because I know 2 or 3 years ago, Brenda and I, we were trying to get people to go in to take down some of the brush and the dead trees. Not cut down trees.
I guess I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, drive by there and it's,
It's not
you can
something
see.
the town-
No, the town is not. We are totally responsible for maintaining that area. So we could spend $100,000 if we want to get a landscape for there.
we can do.
I would just ask quickly for the liability, but if there's really no liability, it's on yourself, then. Yeah, as long as,
They want to do it for free.
yeah, I mean, as long as, I
I'm
would,
assuming they're gonna keep the wood. Why would they do it?
Okay, well, let's see.
Nothing jumps out
Probably
like it
a lot
was.
of work. Okay.
No?
There's a party on Saturday night that I'm going to. It's like, a bunch of old guys and like, oh yeah, hey, let's go out there and have fun.
All right,
Yeah,
so
I'd be a little.
we'll have to ask on about that. Anything else, Lee?
no, believe what, you just ask if there's a lot, you know, you could. one of us could ask Brian if there's a liability, well, somebody going there, just to cut it up. That's all. It's just because it's town property. But other than that, he says no liability.
I mean, what happens if they go into Whitney Woods or something? And cut up stuff, isn't that town land? Conservation trust,
Well, either way, but.
part of it's town land.
Good question.
Yeah.
Someone goes in there and maybe.
No, I think the biggest problem is Concom. Because it's wetlands. But considering that it's been polluted and the well field is closed, and they don't really care too much about water preservation, it doesn't make too much difference.
Yeah, I got an idea. Buses parked there, pay us. Yeah.
Yeah, but then we have to, clear it out. That would be good. No, but I'm just saying, if we just get started cleaning it up, because that was one thing that when Jason was here. Oh, yeah, he was gonna get all these people involved and get the Boy Scouts out there cutting the material down and.
Okay.
We know how Jason did some things.
We'll have to ask around about that.
All right, I'll ask Brian Joyce.
All right, so moving along here, so financials, I don't think there's anything to discuss, we don't
We don't have any
Of course we
financials.
have, anything to discuss with them.
No, but I think maybe we had a good idea with this, the actual real audit.
Yeah, I mean, we have to get some, we can't exist like this anymore.
Mm.
You know, do you run your business like this?
No,
You're actually, I'll be honest with you, you're beyond a year. Not having it certified. You really don't know what you have in your container. We don't, I mean,
No,
we should really look at it.
We're struggling.
But you know what though, it won't, because they're not going through the entire town, it's really gonna just be here.
Yeah.
You know, count receivables and payables. And we'll find out what happens to that 60,000. I think that's gonna something that. I think that's very important, if you wanna know how the financial health is,
so you're talking about audit of the water department?
yeah.
financials, yeah.
No financial, yeah. And, you know, as I said to Chris before, I showed him that she took out that 600,000, half of it illegally. Because 300,000 was not voted on by town meeting. One of those 300,000 was supposed to be out of our existing funds. And so she took a loan out of the money we had.
I think you need to think that through, make sure
But
we ask for an audit of the water department. Make sure it
So-
works in everyone's favor and benefit.
So, as an enterprise fund. I think we should have our own audit.
Mhm.
And
But
which
what about the audit that we're paying for every year?
So, because just from my experience where I am, we have our own internal audits. That gets reported down to the state.
Checks and balances.
Yeah, then basically the town Hingham takes all that report into their final budget balance sheet.
That's like checks and balances, mean they'll do spot checks on certain accounts. We talked about that. Yeah, make sure.
Well, I mean, this is just it.
I mean, I think. I'm not familiar with the process or how it's been in the past, but if we engage an audit firm,
Is there a forensic audit? Let's see.
Yes,
there's gonna
That's
have to
what we
be,
need.
there's gonna be a lot of people. Town. All of that information is still down. Finance department. So, you know, that's a whole lot for out there.
all right. This is from the FY22 indirect cost. We used to get a spreadsheet about this, but we don't get this anymore. And see here where it says annual financial audit, paid $4,700. We've never seen it. We've been doing that every single year since I've been on this
You
board.
never seen the report.
So,
They don't give you a report when they present.
No, we just pay for this stuff. I mean, you know,
Can you opt out?
You have to,
Mandatory?
you have to make the audit,
Mm.
but usually they're handed that report.
No.
because essentially, so like a hard audit on this place. They would go through all the inventory, make sure inventory is what it is, you don't have to really do that.
That's a spot check.
It'd be a spot check, I mean, but you don't have to,
Yeah.
but
But if you
They're
take a
gonna wanna
look
see
at what
the
the indirect costs are supposed to
the
show you,
income.
it breaks down
Yeah.
everything. That how much a personnel cost, our liability, all the tabs.
So.
And this is what we're supposed to be getting for indirect costs. We never
Be
got
very
it.
surprised if we could.
We should be sitting down with them and
don't know.
saying,
Right.
well, some
I'm
of these
going through it
costs
right
just don't
now
make
as we
sense.
speak, the final year end.
I've been through both and forensic audit. They came up with 31 recommendations. Not the recommendations, but how to tighten things up,
Right,
you know, which is always a good thing. You know, there might be some that just don't make sense, ridiculous, so not.
right,
But, you know, locking things down, certain SOPs in place for how to process things, like people in place for scrapping metal.
Uh-huh.
So it wasn't getting stolen. Things like that are very helpful. And then very transparent, seeing that revenue.
right. And actually, what Fred said, you get that every year. And I'll tell you, it does, some of the recommendations can be a little
It doesn't have to
crazy,
be a forensic every year.
but it's
Somebody's
really beneficial, because you'll know where you are.
Well, the only time I was able to see an audit was when my husband was on the board of selectmen.
I wouldn't necessarily call it.
No, but I'm just saying, to see an audit of the town. And what the auditor suggested was reconciliation of the indirect cost, so that neither side, the town or the enterprise fund, was overcharged. So, our town accountant said, oh, that was only for that 1 year, and never had to be done again. But that was the recommendation 2 years before
So
some of the indirect costs were put in place.
I believe that the 4,700 we pay in the sewer phase.
Yeah.
Is a portion of what the town's paying.
That's correct.
Right,
So
so.
it's part of the town audit. And that's the only reason I saw part of, you know, this was years ago when he was on the board of select.
Well, we can inquire on that.
I don't think the selectmen even know about these things now. Because the things that they have been stating lately, it's like, I don't know. They are totally incorrect.
We can have one of us do an inquiry with some utility auditors, have come down and give us a quick presentation at some point. We don't have to do it like right now.
Or can we just get the state to come in and do it?
You want private firm,
Yeah.
but it'd be separate than what the town would use.
Oh, yeah.
Town will, no, but. I mean, we were thinking, we have an inquiry with two audit companies.
The reality though, folks, is that the finance department in town is doing that shit, you know that.
It's been that way for quite a long time.
But this audit firm is gonna have to, with all the information. So.
We're gonna have to engage the town.
Yeah, they have to be on board with this, but we can try, I'm not saying that we should try.
No, but even so, but we should not be opening up our customers to constantly paying more and more and more for services they're not getting. You know, and this is why I've been pushing for every year with the indirect costs. We should be sitting down before we do the budget and saying, hey, we have a question about this cost, that cost, and whatever. But they just put it in, and they started previously, before Don came on board. They used to take the indirect cost out in January. Now they take it out July 1st. And the whole thing is, oh, well, how they do their budget now, the indirect costs are part of the town budget, not part of our budget. And they needed to balance their budget, so they charge us for everything. And as someone who has been in business for more decades than you've been born, Jonathan, and seeing technology, I can't understand with the current technology, how we have the same costs in some of the departments in town. When everything now is done by automatic payments. We still don't have, we used to have the senior citizens in the old days stuffing the water bills and mailing them so that they get a tax credit. Now, we know it's the outside company doing it. So the town has nothing to do with the outgoing bills. They only get the payments from the incoming. And most of them are done now with automatic payments. Because they set up another system 2 years ago. But they keep telling us, oh no, it takes us just as long, if not longer, to process. How can that be?
I don't know. Let's,
Yeah, so let's go on.
let's start this.
Yeah, but we have to get some numbers because we have to start thinking about budget.
Last month reports we got,
What?
the last month reports, no month, they were.
Like the monthly reports from the town? Oh goodness, wasn't that the one that was sort of dated between May and June? That you couldn't tell which one
No,
was
it
which?
was like July, August.
Let me think, I have that here. Do I have everything here? What's the assistant administrator?
So, I'll just give you the brief update on. The combined community study. There's a call on the 18th of Monday at 9 a.m. MWRA, so the local communities, of Norwell, Abington, Rockland, Situate,
Hingham.
Hingham.
What was that tonight?
Monday the 18th,
Thirty?
next Monday, at 9 a.m. I cannot attend. Brian will be attending, it's on Zoom, so if anyone else wants to join, to listen in.
Get on that, Rich. I'll be in Seabrook. I'm gonna try to jump
Yeah.
on it.
Just send us a link.
Yeah, I'll forward, I just forwarded,
What time is it at?
9 a.m. So
Same
we,
time.
the group has formalized the RFP, the scope of work and the evaluation criteria for the engineering firm. So this RFP is gonna go out any day now, so they're gonna get bids from engineering firms to do this combined community study. So I'll forward you the emails, you can look through them. But as I was saying to Steve earlier, all other towns, this process is being run by, or the town manager or administrator is taking the active role in this effort. We don't have that. So he and Brian have been attending all the meetings and part of the dialogue.
Okay, one other question about all the other towns. Do they have a water supply problem?
Some of it.
Which one doesn't?
Which one doesn't?
Yes, besides, I think I'm
Probably
the
us.
only one.
So when,
That's the problem.
when the study kicks off, there's gonna be a lot of effort we need from you to get information as requested. So similar to the study we just went through. From time to time, they may contact us directly to say, can you provide us information on this? What's your capacity? What's your infrastructure and things like that? So that's gonna happen over the course of the study is intended to take about a year. More to follow on that, but just, be advised that there's gonna be some requests for information throughout the course of the year. And hopefully at the end of the year, the result is basically the cost and the steps, the feasibility of a combined expansion of the MWRA water source. So other than the, $1 billion it would take for the direct connection from where it's coming from,
I think it ends in Quincy.
Lindsay, so, they get, I don't know if anyone's on that presentation, that would think go already.
Yeah.
It was about the
Yeah,
product.
no, because I heard from Senator O'Connor that there was one plan of possibly doing a pipe under the Fort River Bridge
Mhm.
and then another area in Weymouth.
So if we do a combined effort, obviously we would try to wheel the water through existing infrastructure. That's the whole idea. So, this is kind of a long-term effort to see the viability of this idea. It's only gonna cost us about $7,000. We're going off pro rata.
We finalize that price, Chris?
Not really, we don't have any bids yet. That's they're estimating it's about $100,000. So our portion would be about 7,000. So that's the gist there.
Yep.
So it's just one more thing as part of a
Yeah.
picture effort to see what the future, the water and glass is.
Russ has been looking at, got to go on the phone call about that.
Yeah.
So whatever I learn, I'll certainly pass.
Okay, well, the other question I have about this, considering the towns that are involved. Because we know that, Norwell, Situate, Hingham, Hanover have a water supply problem. And the towns that are given priority are the ones with water supply problems and, water quality problems. I don't know how.
We rank real high.
Yeah.
What?
We would rank real high
In what?
in need.
No,
Based on quality.
Yeah.
really?
Fred's very serious, you can tell by his face,
No.
He's like,
Yeah. Well, we have water quality.
Well,
Is that, that's what you're saying?
yeah,
So
water.
yeah,
quality.
we would, if they could send us, if it was reasonable, and the price made sense. That's interesting.
in the end of the whole,
No, what I'm saying about getting the money.
Oh.
Grant money is given based on the,
Yeah, I know, it's a distress system, but it's not because we're a community, so yeah, there might be some challenge.
Yeah.
So yes, it is a distress system, but however.
how distressed is it compared to?
Well, because the
Well,
wells,
stuff.
that might be a challenge.
I'm taking
Yep.
vacation time, I get burn time, so like I said. Fine.
All right, so I'll just,
Chris's day.
I'll skip over, I'm gonna skip over King Street, we'll cover that in a second, I just wanna brief everybody on capital projects, so really the only update is that on Tuesday, I think it was, yeah, Tuesday. Me, Brian, Jonathan, Brendan met with Merrill Engineering, to review the preliminary, as-built for South Main Street.
Yep.
So the plan currently is for a design to do Depot Court to, St. Anthony's
Mhm.
with the small section of Elm Street to connect into the,
Oh, we are doing Elm Street.
Yeah.
What about Border? Or, what is it? No, that little street, what's the other one?
Stevens Lane.
No, right there,
the cut through.
Brook Street.
Brook Street,
There's no main on Brook Street.
Yeah, they said there's one.
there's no water main?
They said something like it's just services. Yeah,
Oh, okay,
it's just service.
so we will finish Elm Street then.
Yes, that's the one.
Oh, because Brian kept saying no.
Yeah, when we reviewed it, it just made a lot more sense.
Well, it does. I mean, it'd be stupid not to do
You
it.
can't not place that section, so. So they're gonna revise that design, we're gonna do the bypass design, and Brian had asked them to have this ready in January. So we can put it out to RFP, at February time.
That's the old 1899 pipe.
So. If all goes according to. The timeline we discussed, that would mean we're doing construction in the center of town in the summer. Which is not ideal, so we'll have to make that decision at some point. So we're gonna completely disrupt center of town in spring and early summer, which is not great for anyone. So the idea was suppose that maybe we could do this as night work.
I was just thinking the same thing, be night work.
Yeah.
At least a certain section of it.
Right. The center of town.
You're right,
And then when you get past like,
get to the resident,
Red
past it,
Lion.
right, and just go one day.
So that's the only water main project we have on the docket. We talked about the sludge lagoons. I think that is our next priority or the priority, and then the water main projects have to continue. So the next one would be Atlantic Ave from the bridge to the end of the parking lot. We're gonna do the design for that after we get South Main Street sort of going. So hopefully when we start that work, we'll shift over to Atlantic Ave.
Okay, but wouldn't light work really increase the cost?
Yes. Yeah. Either that or wait till fall. I think I can't see us ripping up the center of town in this sometime.
Yeah, and so well, bus routes during the day and then. Yeah, I think that little piece down there is gonna have to get done
Oh, it has to be done, yeah.
at night.
You don't have to worry about bus routes in the summer,
No,
obviously.
it's busy in the summertime.
And I also, on the side note, I put out Brian Joyce. You get the type of inspection. So that you pay for, you would be appropriate evidence.
Yeah.
So the documents that would be extremely, very accurate.
Yeah, because we've had problems about that previously.
And at a reasonable cost.
So we do not have to go to town meeting about any of this.
No, as of now, we have 2.6 million for the project.
And they're ready to pull the trigger on that yesterday.
I mean, this, I'm guessing this Main Street project will take up a lot of that 2.6 million.
Hey, remind me, you guys meet with fire, police, and all that stuff, and start doing these types of planning or potential detours or what have you out of this disruption.
That's all I got on capital projects. Anything to add and discuss?
Yeah, well, another question about it, could we just do part of it as night work?
Yeah, I think that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Depot Court to like Red Line and Elm Street perhaps would be network. And everything from Red Line
Yeah.
to Sand is gonna be daytime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If possible, or whenever.
So we'll have to get input from public safety, on that.
Sometimes, to be honest with you, night work can go so much faster
Yeah.
than daytime work. I mean, sometimes it's really quick. We did a study for nighttime work for our projects and it expedited for. It's a week.
Just
Less.
peace of mind too, Lee, it could create.
Okay.
Yeah, you know. Gotcha.
Well, was it Brendan or Brian was saying that there's something like 40 apartment units downtown, between all the different buildings, there's something like 40 apartments. So they're gonna complain about the backup, the vehicles backing up when they beep.
People would complain about the labor, so.
Yeah, it's a lose-lose.
Yeah,
Are they really, what are you doing?
Yeah, something that very high, I'm expecting to be high amount of apartments.
yeah, there's like all over the storefronts.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there aren't that many. I don't know.
Brendan and Brian said that it was like 12 apartments above the line there.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Yeah.
That seems an awful lot of Atlantic
Yeah.
Bagel.
So, so we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, but that's the update on it. So Merrill is going there, and we'll start on Atlantic. But there's a whole slew of other streets that we really haven't gotten into, so that conversation is happening next year. Beginning of the year.
Well, the reason that we do this though is because we have to depend on DPW.
Yeah.
Because how many times in the last 12 years have we changed everything around because they've changed their minds?
Yeah.
So we're captive.
Okay. King Street,
Brenda, is this on YouTube?
It will be uploaded there, yeah.
you're
Okay.
recording it?
Yeah,
Okay, so I'm not gonna mention the customer's name or address, right? But nearby on King Street, there's a customer who is kind of demanding that we replace his water line for free. And it's all surrounding, you guys familiar with the punch out process of a plumber? So punching out is when a plumber basically this is a unique service that we offer. Other towns don't really do this because there are risks involved to our water mains, but we historically have offered this service called a punch out, which is when a plumber will go either into the house or depending on the length of the service line. If it's a longer service, you would do it by exposing the service valve underground, and then he would hook up there. But what he does is he hooks up this piston that he hits with a sledgehammer, and it creates a water hammer, just sends all this energy down the service line, and it blows out where the service line meets our main, which can get plugged over time. And I think that, you know, in the, I don't know, late 90s, Brenda, we were putting out some water that was creating this plugging of the connection from the line to the main. So it became a common practice, but typically we do it in conjunction with that, the homeowner replacing their line or doing something on their part. So we're sort of meeting them halfway, like they're making an effort, and then in return, we make an effort. There's been, and so all that said, King Street is a hotspot for it because it's they're the first customers that get our water. So this homeowner purchased their house in 2014, and the previous owner was told that he needed to upgrade his water line, one, because it was old, and two, because it's 3/4 inch. We typically recommend 1 inch to 2 inch. And the previous homeowner said, I'm about to sell my house. I don't see the point. And so I think over time it's gotten worse for this particular homeowner. And 5 years ago or 4 years ago, he was told that he really should do it he should replace his line as soon as possible because the King Street was getting paved and there would be a moratorium on digging up the street. Our main is on the opposite side of the street as his house, so his service line runs under the majority of the street. And he did not do it then, and now I think over time, his volume has gotten worse and worse in his house. And he's basically demanding that we replace his line because in his mind, the reason he's having these issues is because our water is not good. And he went as far as to threaten to come up with a class action lawsuit. Brenda, am I missing much?
No, you got it.
The 3/4 inch custom,
Yes,
and we own, main to curb, right?
yes, and I think he also doesn't realize how many of his neighbors replace their line in conjunction with this punch out service provided by the plumbers. I think he thinks that people he thinks that the punch outs can be the magic bullet, which we don't think it will be due to the age and size of the line. And also he understands that we don't want to do it during the winter, but he's holding very firm that we are responsible.
So the punch out is to clean out his line, right?
So
Yes.
you gotta dig down at the curb out, blow it out that way,
So all
or
the
you
stuff
gotta do
goes,
it from the house, he said.
so all that stuff goes into the main.
Yes. Which, that's not really an issue or the issue, like, we do provide the service, but it's usually alongside the homeowner making an effort to upgrade their line.
I wouldn't go onto his property for anything, period. This is my suggestion. Decide what you want, from the curb out to the main, either replace that or do this clean out. Do not, I wouldn't go onto his property.
Well,
He is responsible.
So I think I mentioned, so I'm sure there's a shut off valve in his property.
Right. Main to
So if
curb.
this is his property, I'll shut off valves here. This is the point of demarcation.
That's where our responsibility ends, at the curb out.
Right.
That's called the service connection. Main to
Right.
curb out. Service connection and service.
So we currently have no responsibility for that before it's on, right?
Correct.
No, except he thinks we're responsible for the condition of his line because of the quality of our water. Also, again, I don't think he realizes that how many of his neighbors replace their line and then we punch them out. So he was going to talk to his neighbors and I said that, okay, I'm gonna gather information too. And speaking with Brendan, he's like, yeah, everybody replaced their line. This guy is incorrect. So
if it's a new service, where is the punch out at? You do it.
it depends on the length of the service. If on a shorter service, we'll do it inside the home. from, like, at their meter. If it's a longer service, like this guy's like over 100 feet, then we would dig down at their valve and do it from the valve.
And that's what I would recommend. I would not go.
Well, I wouldn't touch that portion from the valve to the house, because there's some happens,
It's
we
his.
own it.
Well, it's his.
It's, yeah.
Yes.
So typically it's already, it's when it's already dug up, because he's connecting his service to our.
Exactly.
It's highly unusual copper will plug due to water quality. Something's going on, something aggressive is happening.
I see more on plastic,
That's, or old galvanized.
okay, or galvan,
Or
right?
something like that where it percolates down.
Right,
The pipes will bleed, basically rust down.
right.
But I would stay from the service connection. And if he decides to go to a 1-inch copper line, let's say, let's do it from his house to his first valve. I would then recommend that you do the same. What you said, 1-inch copper from the main to curb. And then there's no, because then you're gonna choke him down. You know, because from
Right.
curb out to the main, it's 3/4 inch, it's kind of defeating the purpose.
Yeah. Here you get your resistance on the mains and that valve.
Right.
And he wasn't, I would say he wasn't disrespectful, but he's pissed and he's adamant that we are responsible.
Did you discuss placing his service? Or did him placing service, and you discuss that with him?
Yeah, he's not hearing any of it.
By the way, is it in the regulation?
I was just gonna ask, is what's in the is it any in our regulations?
Yes, and that's what you have to refer to, and it is what it is, right? But you can work with them, as it holds a service connection.
Right,
If there's something we can do, I'm to do it,
yeah, so from the main to
to
the
the
valve,
first, to the curb valve.
the curve valve,
If you wanna open a hole and punch it out like he's saying, which I'm not a big fan of that kind of stuff, but, if it works. You know, if there's a
Well,
call.
the only thing I would be concerned about is if we do the punch out on our end with him not doing anything on his end, we could just plug that whole service up and he'll have no water. That would be my one concern.
That ever happened? Because I don't see how that would happen.
I don't
Yeah.
know, it's a long run, it's across, I just. I mean, we know what these blockages look like. I just. My whole thought was if we do this and it gets blocked, he's gonna be like, all right, now you gotta fix it.
so.
Yeah, but the only thing we would fix would be your main to curb. I
So
would never
the
go.
main to curb, is that copper?
Yes.
It's 3/4 inch copper. Is that what you said?
Which is highly unusual. I've never really heard about copper, but unless there was something that's going on.
So how would it be plugged, like doing the punch up?
Manganese?
No, but if we could, as Brennan just said, how would that be a risk?
Just, like, I
How would
think
we plug
she's
it
saying
once?
if they surge it like they do, and that shit dislodges.
Yeah.
Don't put shit on the record, and it comes back up the service line? That's what I'm assuming she's thinking?
That's what I'm thinking, yes.
Well, the other risk is, in every scenario, the risk is that could damage our main. That's why other towns don't do
And then
this.
you're digging it all up.
Yeah.
I don't know, anybody's ever done this stuff? This is unique.
Can I ask you a dumb question? Could the actual meter in the house be plugged?
Yes. Can get gummed up, if it's a mutating disc, high manganese, you could create some operational issues
And
there.
that would cause the flow to decrease.
Oh, yeah.
Potentially, yeah, you'd have to go in there, and-
I would hope that has been ruled out by now.
well, it's a good point, you know, I didn't even think of it, we should check to see when the last time the meter was changed.
Yeah. But anyways, after he threatened to sue me, I invited him to
Absolutely. come here.
the January commissioner meeting to make his case, and it was my intention to have a list of services in the neighborhood that have been replaced, but wasn't able to pull that together, but I think that won't be difficult to do between now and then.
So one of the big takeaways from this is, well, we can check that meter. Well, somebody checks it, and what's in our regulation.
So
Yeah.
it says responsibility for service line, responsibility for maintaining the customer side service line from the shut off valve to the service building is that of the customer. This includes installation and maintenance to keep it free from leaks and blockages.
What he'll tell you is that your water created this problem.
That's just him, that's his opinion.
Right.
He could possibly have a leak in the line that is causing the problem.
Potentially. But you probably should pick that up pretty easy.
How would you test the meter anyway? I don't know.
Well, the meter, you just pull it out, and replace it. Either rebuild it or trash it.
Yeah, or,
Just replace the
And
meter.
how would you test, like, did you guys do like a flow test,
For what?
pressure from, you know? that-
I think usually if you disconnect it from the discharge side and just blast it, it should dislodge anything.
We don't want,
Say, I've never really had any problems with copper, so this is really odd for me. Copper typically doesn't, all galvanized and other types of
yeah,
things.
you get the pipe, old Galvio in front there, it's all barnacles. I've seen some old stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, it just goes, this is an artery, it just gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
100 feet, sometimes you'll experience friction loss over. But with a copper, or plastic is supposed to alleviate a lot of that. Obviously, you gotta size up a bit if you're going over so many hundreds of feet.
So I think, between now and this, the 16th, we have it. I think we just do those couple of simple steps,
And be adamant about not doing anything with the service, no matter what.
you
If
know.
you replace his meter and you replace his whole service connection, it's still not providing volume, it's not your problem. You've honored and you've satisfied your obligation.
There's no punch on it, regulation.
I don't think so.
No,
So as we discussed the other day, we need to go off historical precedent, and that is if the customer is replacing the service, we may do a punch out if the situation warrants, but in no case do we replace the service on the customer's property. So I think that's what we need to tell them when it comes in.
Right, and main to curb too, you can also dig the sending and receiving, you might be able to pull a new line if you wanted to replace a service connection. There's options. You don't know, sometimes a corporation, the thing that's actually tapped into the name, could it be gummed up? Yeah. Could it be half open? Maybe somebody didn't open all of it. I've seen that happen. Those various things. But pressure is pressure, not two different things.
And I think the pressure on King Street is gonna be pretty high because, we're right here.
Yeah, the pressure's good there. He's got 70 PSI. It's just he has no volume.
So I'm sure his furthest bathroom away or shower is,
Something's gummed up.
Yeah.
And I would definitely start with the meter. Sure, there's nothing going on.
So Brendan can handle
Oh,
if it hasn't been already,
Yeah.
I can't imagine we haven't looked into it or changed the meter.
that, and they check the valves. It's open.
Hey, Brenda, off the top of your head, do you remember if they changed the meter?
No, I'm looking at the account now. The meter hasn't been changed since 2011.
And your change technically, are you ready? Just get it done. I would send the guys over there and. Matter of fact, it's just about a meter change. I wouldn't say it's related.
Like-
Talk.
So if he,
but you would, so,
I don't want to walk in there and say,
No,
oh, this
no,
might
but-
be the problem.
but how would we know the volume change in place?
We check volume by just timing how long it takes to fill a bucket.
After the meeting?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
You'd know in about 30 seconds.
Yeah, so we did pressure and flow in 2018. PSI stayed the same. It used to take 1 minute and 40 seconds to fill a 5-gallon bucket, and now it's up. In 2020, it was 2 minutes and 5 seconds. So obviously it's getting choked down more and more as the years go by.
But it should be like 20 seconds.
Yeah, like 30 seconds, move right up. Especially with it. Pretty cool. It's like a guard, like open,
Yeah.
right, no pressure, it's all on.
So to go back, were you suggesting that if the homeowner decides to replace their service, it would make sense for us to replace the main to curb?
Absolutely.
I think that would be a decent compromise on what that would cost us, but.
He's gonna
putting
be a
in
few
one-
$1,000, probably like $5,000.
Is the word selling monitoring?
It's coming up, I think, next year.
To be paid or?
No, to be done.
So I think
To be
under,
done. To be
To be done.
so I think,
Oh.
I think on the moratorium, if an emergency, that way you could actually have the road open, because it's not receiving a benefit of the services, which would be an emergency opening. Okay, you just have to ask Brian.
We're gonna payment next year, you said?
No, the moratorium expires next year. So as of next year,
2024?
yes, as of next year, the road
Like
can be
first
dug
of the
up.
year or when?
Whatever.
I don't know. that.
It's typically, the fit is, it would be like 2024.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So you don't have to wait. Like, you can
Exactly.
probably get out and just do it.
yeah, I just was sure before you like do that, we just get the blessing
Is-
from Brian.
Is that right, Brenda? It's next year?
What? I'm sorry, what?
The moratorium ends next year?
I don't know off the top of my head.
All right, so we'll invite that homeowner to the next meeting when we set the date.
Yes.
And will that be after the meter's replaced?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
As long as he lets us in.
So you can get in contact with them to organize that.
It's a whole separate thing. Just call, hey, we want time for your 10-year change. That's it.
Don't make any promises on that.
Just about the meter. Understood?
Yes.
Yeah.
But he does. Let's see, no,
You can't. It's your infrastructure. You have to be able, that's how you build.
right,
Cannot say no to that. You can, should be able to shut him off if he doesn't provide access. Just saying.
oh, I know, we run it too.
And Brenda would know better than anybody how to deal with somebody who won't let you do a 10-year change. Brenda, how do you? This is probably- Well,
If somebody, I have a letter that, you know, as a nice letter first, and then it's kind of a demanding letter afterwards. This guy doesn't seem to me the type that's not gonna allow us in to change that meter.
Just keep it separate from the supply thing.
You know, I think a simple phone call saying we'd like to come in and change that meter out, he'll be fine with that.
All right, anything else on that topic?
No.
Jonathan, you have any comments on
I think we got, on it. For everything.
Unrelated, something I forgot to mention is that I am in touch with people for these blinds. I would like to think that it would be done by the next meeting, but the way that they're communicating, I'm hesitant to promise that.
I get hang blinds.
Yeah, let's go to Home Depot and get some line.
Good tarp.
Yeah.
No, this is the Braintree company.
Yes.
What are they putting in?
Well, that's the lingering question. He gave me a proposal and I signed it and returned it. It's like after I confirmed, like, hey, are you gonna come and look at this before we do anything? And also, like, you're gonna bring me samples to choose from? And that's when he confirmed yes, but then since then he's been quiet.
Well, we'll do it together.
I poked him yesterday, the day before, and I haven't heard back.
You know she would. I'll join her.
Do you have any other topics, other than what's on the agenda?
Well, hopefully not, just that we have to, seriously look at, where we are and what we want to do next year. I think we should all just look at our last budget and see if we want to increase spending in certain areas, but we really don't know what our revenue is. Because when Don came in, he changed our entire budget. Previously, we used to have the liens, the penalties listed as part of the budget, and he took that away. So consequently, that came in, and that's why we look like we gained a lot more money. And as you were saying about how we had excess money at the end of one year, it was because of all the system development. And we haven't had a big boost in system development like that. So that's something to be aware of, that we may not be having, you know, the $900,000 extra in the budget. Yeah. Because, yeah, I don't see where too much system development is coming in right now.
Right.
I have one last thing. Similar to the blinds, I'm struggling to get the HVAC units replaced in Brenda's office and in the lobby. I'd say the hardest thing I've accomplished here in my time here is getting with, hypochlorite at Whitney Crossing, and the second hardest thing is dealing with this HVAC company. So, but anyways, long story short, it looks like it's gonna get done in February.
Do you have heat?
Brenda has a space heater.
So we're- participant.
I'm gonna buy you a heated vest too. I bought one. It was a-
Oh, it's comical at this point, just comical.
Kind of, yeah.
Another thing too, safety, we're gonna potentially revisit, right, our 5 years for our.
Oh, yeah, thank you. We need to triple check and triple confirm, but it came to our attention last night that the arc flash, I don't know what you call it, arc flash study and,
Yeah.
certification.
So basically, they come through, we're gonna make sure there's no more changes, put new stickers up, make sure there's no hazards that created, do
For-
other types of work.
For this location, and it's on either a 2 or 5 year cycle, but
Yeah, I think it's
I'm actually doing it right now.
it's 5 years.
Steve knows all about
Who
it.
do you use?
Actually, that would be- It's all. They did the last one.
Here?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, John. We're not using wood.
Actually, I think they just did it for the 40 breaker upstairs. They came in, I think you provided, actually. I actually believe you should be all set. They just did it.
That's what Fred and I were kind of saying.
Yeah,
to each
well,
other.
They just did it.
Like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So unless somebody didn't mail it in to Renee. Yeah. It's double check.
Changing, building, right?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you provided that for you.
That's-
Yeah.
We said the same thing. We all know.
The only thing you really, I think the only thing the recommendation you would have to need is an arc flash, suit.
No, it's not us.
You use high voltage.
We wouldn't do any of that.
Right.
It's
So,
not gonna say, don't go in there.
right.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
us, yeah. You guys are- They should.
Anything else?
Meeting note approvals,
Do we have any?
Here's the November
Yes.
16th meeting.
you should have 4 of them, Lee.
I got 2 pages here.
Oh, I have one
Oh.
page here.
Sorry.
I only had one, now I have 4. Okay.
Oh, wait a minute, you didn't take that out of my folder, Jonathan.
You told me to print 2 things.
Yeah, and I told you, never mind, I got 2 here that you didn't take out of the commission folder. That would be the October 31st. And the October 24th. And then I forwarded you 2 more from December.
I accept full responsibility.
All right, approval of minutes from November 13th.
Second,
All in favor?
aye,
Approval of minutes from November 16th.
second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
With the October dates. If I have approval of minutes from October 31st. All,
So moved. Second,
okay, and approval of minutes from October 3rd,
24th.
24th.
so moved.
Thank you.
All right, got it.
I'll sign the 2 that are here and then I'll sign the other ones when you get them.
I'll let you know.
I'm around.
Anything else?
No, I just, let's really get on board with the water and the lagoons. Get us that in the right direction. here,
Yeah.
ASAP, yeah.
We have to really, decide what we want to do with extraordinary and regular maintenance too.
For sure.
Because we did bump that up also. Do you remember when we bumped up our maintenance lines, Brenda?
Every year.
Really? I thought we were maintaining for a while.
I think the last couple of years we've been bumping it up a little bit.
Yeah. You
I
know,
mean, we haven't made a huge difference because now we have that percentage chart. So, because our rates are increasing 2.5%, we were advised by whomever, try not to exceed that, and if you do, justify it someplace else, so. Like when we went up quite a bit on our engineering for this year, we didn't increase some of our stuff. The 2.5% to justify that. If that makes sense.
All right, make a motion to adjourn the Board of Water Commission meeting of December 14th at 9:39 AM. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
You can stop recording anytime you like.
Thanks, Brenda.
All right, thanks, guys.
Right, we'll see you next week.
All right.